softly.
Biscotti. So this recipe is adapted from one of Martha Stewart's recipes. This is a recipe for cherry almond biscotti, only I'm doing cranberries. This is 1 cup of cranberries, half a teaspoon of salt. I'll put the recipe down below as well. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 3 eggs, room temperature, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and almonds. I'm just looking at the recipe. 3/4 of a cup of almonds, 3 cups of flour, and we've got 4 tablespoons of butter and 1 cup of granulated sugar. So I've already creamed the butter and sugar in my stand mixer. Certainly something that you can do by hand as well. Incidentally, if you have a stand mixer, I highly recommend getting one of these things. They're amazing. It cuts out a step when you're scraping down your bowl and such. So what I've also already done is soaked these cranberries, or rather simmered them in some liqueur. I did like a random pear liqueur, so half a cup of whatever liqueur. She recommends Amaretto, as long as it's not very strong tasting. I've even done an orange juice. Doesn't really matter. You can't really taste it unless it's a very strong tasting one. So this is a delicious pear liqueur. These have been simmered, and then I put them on some paper towel just to get the excess liquid off. What it essentially does is just plumps up the cranberries or whatever dried fruit you're putting in, so that you're not biting into like hard nuggets of tooth-breaking cranberries. So yeah, so next what I'm going to do, I've creamed my butter and my sugar, so I'm going to add the eggs a little bit at a time, just let them incorporate, and we'll go from there. So here we have the delicious looking soup of 3 eggs, the sugar and the butter, the reserved pear liqueur, and the whatchamacallit, vanilla. Now I'm just stirring this up a bit so you can see there are little clumps of butter. The butter seized a little bit when I added the eggs because they weren't quite up to room temperature. What I do when eggs are right out of the fridge, and the recipe almost always calls for room temperature eggs, I put them in some hot water, intact in their shells. And it'll bring them up to room temperature pretty quickly. And then you have the built-in bonus of knowing whether your eggs are good or not. You know that old saying, if eggs float, give to goat. If eggs sink, put in drink. So these eggs were good. They didn't quite get up to room temperature because I wanted to get this party started. But anyways, whatevs. It's all going to come out in the wash once I add the flour, which I'm about to do. So it's going to get loud. Here we go. It's on speed 1. Let it incorporate. It's too loud. Yeah, so you just add a little bit at a time, let it incorporate, scrape down the bowl as you go, and then add your inclusions, which is the almonds and the cranberries in my case. So that's coming up. Ta-da! It's done! So I added the almonds and the cranberries, and also my secret ingredient, which is sesame snaps. Don't tell anyone. So this is a nice cohesive dough. Careful not to overmix it, just like cookies, because you don't want the gluten to develop too much. The biscotti get hard and crunchy due to the baking. So I'm going to divide this into 2. Again, it's just for me, so whatevs, I'm not going to measure it. So that's 2 rough balls. My oven is up to temp, so I'm ready to go with this stuff. I reduced the amount of almonds and inclusions basically in these biscotti, because I find with Martha Stewart's proper recipe it's just too much. Like I just find it's too much. So anyway, okay. So we've got these things. Nice biscotti balls. So I'm just gonna, this is the way that I do it. I just roll them out like that. So nice and soft, this dough. And then, where's the frame? Here we go. There. Okay, so then I just make it a long log. So, yeah. Keep on shaping it until, ta-da. I thought I'd just show you also, you can lightly flour your counter. Not too much flour. And then roll it out on your counter as well. I just get lazy and don't want to clean up the mess, so I do it on the cookie sheet. But you can also do it this way, and then shape your log. Comme ça. Ta-da! Magic. So this one is about 16 inches long, this is about 14 inches long. They're both about 3 inches wide and like a knuckle high. And they're ready to go in the oven. So as I said, we're up to temp. It's 325, and we bake this for 30 minutes. And we take it out, let it cool slightly, slice it, bake it again. So we'll see you in 30 minutes. Okay, listen, I don't know what's going on with my dumb iPad, but what I did was I took the logs, obviously, and I cut them just, horizontally. More often than not, you see them cut diagonally, and that's what I used to do, but I find you yield more in nice crispy little bites if you do them this way. So these are just out of the oven. These have been 10 minutes at 300 on this side, so I'm just going to turn them all over. The bums usually I don't really pay too much attention to. And I like my biscotti really nice and crunchy. But if you prefer them not to be so crunchy, then you can either stop at this point, or you can do just the 10 minutes and 10 minutes. So it's 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on the other side, and then I put them on their feet, as it were, and do another 10 minutes. Or until you see color, whichever comes first. So I'm just going to finish flipping these over. These will go back into the oven, 300 for another 10, judging by the color of these, probably 15 minutes, and then I'll put them on their feet, and they'll go in like little soldiers.